There are few rivalries in the modern world of technology and business that capture public imagination, quite like the contrast between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. These two men have reshaped industries, accumulated staggering wealth, and built platforms that billions of people interact with every single day. Yet despite operating in overlapping worlds of technology, innovation, and global influence, they could not be more different in how they think, lead, and live. Understanding what separates them goes far beyond comparing their net worth or counting the number of companies they own. It requires looking at their origins, their philosophies, their leadership styles, and ultimately what drives them to keep pushing forward when most people would have stopped long ago. Elon Musk was born in Pretoria, South Africa, on June 28, 1971. From an early age, he was drawn to books, science, and the kind of big questions that most children never think to ask. He taught himself programming at the age of 12 and sold his first video game shortly after. His childhood was not without difficulty, and he has spoken openly about being bullied and feeling like an outsider. That sense of being on the outside, looking in, never fully left him, and it became a powerful fuel for his ambition. Mark Zuckerberg, born on May 14, 1984, in White Plains, New York, grew up in a comfortable, supportive household. His father taught him programming early, and by the time he reached high school, he had already built software that impressed professionals. He was a prodigy in the truest sense, someone who excelled within systems rather than against them. Where Musk always seemed to be fighting something, Zuckerberg was optimizing something. That fundamental difference in orientation has shaped everything that followed. Elon Musk has always been driven by what can only be described as civilizational ambition. His goals are not measured in quarterly earnings or user growth metrics. They are measured in the survival of the human species. He genuinely believes that humanity must become multiplanetary to avoid extinction, and every major venture he has launched, from SpaceX to Tesla to Neuralink, feeds into that overarching mission. He is willing to take risks that most rational business minds would immediately reject, and he has faced catastrophic failure more than once without abandoning his vision. When SpaceX was on the verge of bankruptcy in 2008, Musk reportedly took his last available funds and invested them into the company rather than walking away. That is not the behavior of someone chasing profit. That is the behavior of someone who genuinely believes the stakes are existential. Zuckerberg's vision, while ambitious in its own right, is fundamentally about human connection. He built Facebook with the stated goal of making the world more open and connected. His subsequent ventures, including Instagram, WhatsApp, and the pivot to the metaverse under the Meta umbrella, all orbit around the same central idea of bringing people together through technology. Where Musk looks outward toward the stars, Zuckerberg looks inward toward the network of human relationships. Neither vision is small, but they are profoundly different in character. One is driven by survival and exploration, the other by communication and community. The way these two men lead their companies and present themselves to the world is perhaps where the contrast becomes most vivid and most revealing. Musk is chaotic, impulsive, and deeply personal in his public presence. He uses social media, particularly the platform formerly known as Twitter, and now rebranded as X, as an extension of his personality. He makes announcements, picks fights, cracks jokes, and occasionally moves markets with a single post. His leadership style inside his companies is known to be intense, demanding, and sometimes brutal. Employees have described working for him as both the most challenging and most meaningful experience of their careers. He sets impossible deadlines and then somehow makes people believe those deadlines are achievable. Zuckerberg, by contrast, has historically been measured, controlled, and deliberate in his public communications. For years, he was criticized for seeming robotic and overly rehearsed, particularly during his congressional testimony in 2018. He has worked visibly to soften that image in recent years, taking up mixed martial arts, posting more casual content, and engaging more openly with criticism. His leadership style inside Meta is described as more structured and process-oriented, focused on systems and data rather than gut instinct and inspiration. He is not the kind of leader who rules through force of personality. He rules through clarity of strategy. At the deepest level, what separates Elon Musk from Mark Zuckerberg is their relationship with risk and their definition of success. Musk treats risk as a necessary companion on the road to meaningful achievement. He has lost fortunes, faced public humiliation, and watched rockets explode on live television without flinching from his path. For him, success is not a destination, but a direction, always pointed towards something larger than himself. Zuckerberg treats risk with far more caution, preferring to acquire potential threats rather than compete with them, and to iterate carefully rather than leap blindly. His definition of success is more measurable, more tied to scale, engagement, and the reach of his platforms. Both approaches have produced extraordinary results, and both men have changed the world in ways that will be studied for generations. But the difference between them is ultimately a difference in soul. One man is building a bridge to the future of humanity. The other is building a mirror that reflects humanity back to itself. Both are necessary. Both are remarkable. And understanding the space between them tells us something profound about the many different ways that ambition, vision, and genius can take shape in a single lifetime. What do you think makes Musk and Zuckerberg stand out from one another? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you're interested in more videos comparing tech leaders, consider subscribing for deeper dives into what makes them tick.